Welcome in Craft and Design 3.0, and for my dear audience, in this video I will describe some different and much beautiful ideas of a welding project, a welding craft, or welding for some learner, or welding in a teaching procedure. So, dear audience, when we talk about welding, then welding is a fabrication process that joins materials, usually metals or thermoplastic, primarily by using high temperature to metal the parts together and allow them to cool, causing fusion. So common alternative method include solvent welding of thermoplastic using chemicals to melt materials being bonded without heat, and solid state welding process which bond without melting, such as pressure cooled welding and diffusion bonding. So, dear audience, metal welding is distinct from lower temperature bonding techniques such as brazing and soldering, which don't melt the base metal, parent metal, and instead require flowing of filler metal to solidify their bonds. So, in addition to melting the base metal in welding, a filler material is typically added to the joint to form a pool of molten material, the weld pool that cools to form a joint that based on weld configuration. But and full penetration fillet can be stronger than the base material. So welding also requires a form of shield to protect the filler metals, melted metal from being contaminated, oxidized, and many different energy source can be used for welding, including a gas flame, chemical, and electric arc, electrical, a laser, and electrons beam. So friction and ultrasound, well, often an industrial process. So welding many may be performed in many different environments, including in open air, underwater, and in outer space. So welding hazards undertaking and precautions are required to avoid burns and electric shock and vision damage and inhalation of poisonous gases and fumes and exposure to intense ultraviolet radiations. So, until the end of the 19th century, the only welding process was fog welding, which blacksmiths had used for millennia to join iron and steel by heating and hammering. So arc welding and oxy-fuel welding were among the first process to develop late in the century, and electric resistance welding followed soon after. So welding technology advanced quickly during the early 20th century as World War drove the demand for a reliable and inexpensive joining method. So following the wars, several modern welding techniques were developed, including manual methods like shielded, and also I say that some hammering configurations. So, I say that some for first process to develop late in the century, and electric resistance welding followed soon after. Welding technology advanced quickly during the early 20th century as World War drove the demand of reliable and inexpensive joining methods. So, following the wars, several modern welding techniques were developed, including a manual method like shield metal and arc welding. Now, one of the most popular welding method, as well as semi-automatic and automatic process such as gas metal, arc welding, submerged arc welding, and flux cord and arc welding, and electro slag welding developments continued with the invention of laser beam welding, electron beam welding, and magnetic pulse welding, and friction stir welding in the later half of the century. Today, as the science continues to advance, boat welding is complex in industrial setting, and researchers continue to develop new welding method and gain greater understanding of weld quality. So etymology, when we talk about the term weld is derived from the Middle English verb well or welling, meaning to heat to the maximum temperature possible. So to bring to a boil. So the modern word was probably derived from the past tense participle weld with the addition of d for this purpose. I say that. In being common in the Germanic language of the Angles and the Saxons. It will be a different categorically. So the history of joining metals goes back several millennia. The earliest example of this come from the Bronze. When we talk about a historical background of a welding procedure and welding imperfectment, so and the Iron Ages in Europe and the Middle East. So the ancient Greek historian Herodotus states in the histories of 15th century BC that Gilles of choice was the man who single-handedly invented iron welding, and fork welding was used in the construction of the iron pillar of Delhi, so erected in Delhi, India about 310 AD and weighing 5.4 metric tons. So, dear audience, the Middle Ages brought advance in fork welding, in which blacksmiths pounded heated metal rapidly until bonding occurred. So, dear audience, I think that my video and my these welding ideas inspired you much, and you gain from my idea uh, much. So, dear audience, if my video and my idea inspire you, then subscribe my channel and like my video and share my video with your affectionate love. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching my video. Once again, thank you very much for watching my video.